Soenil Soebedar from the Netherlands. He is a penetration tester, a PKI cryptography specialist, senior security consultant, senior SOC specialist and technical project leader in security projects. He has worked with industries such as finance and banking, energy, government, healthcare, education, and consulting. Over 28 years committed to the IT sector, he has gathered a lot from the international experience, working in multiple countries and several cultures such as France, Germany, UK, the Netherlands, Belgium, India, and Dubai. With 5+ years of IT and cybersecurity training and education internationally, Mr. Soebedar has delivered virtual workshops and webinars for colleges and universities in Suriname, India, Ghana, Singapore, and Malaysia. It would be apt for a man with such diverse experience. So Mr. Soenil Soebedar speaks on roles and responsibilities of the cybersecurity professionals. Mr. Soenil, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sushma, and Sumi and Rocheston team. Hopefully, are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, yeah. My agenda for today will be about roles and responsibility. We will touch a bit about the domains, some cybersecurity roles, cybersecurity responsibility, certifications, training, some salaries, tips, advice, takeaways, and at last we will have some space for questions and answers. So as already mentioned, this is my profile. Just want to add a small part. I'm a Rocheston partner for Netherlands and Europe, and also RCCE certified, have done the certification and know what's going on in the ethical hacking and cybersecurity field. So if I go back to the IT field and getting a lot of questions how from IT they should be able to move to cybersecurity, I mentioned some of the roles, what they are currently doing. If we put some of those roles in and convert it where they should be able to move the technical part into the cybersecurity field. But there is not only the technical part, we have also the non-technical parts where a person should be able to join into the non-technical cybersecurity fields where they are able to go and proceed. So briefly, I will say and let you know how this could be possible. But first, the question what I'm also getting is cybersecurity is only one piece or very small part where they should be able to join. So from my point of view, it's look like as an iceberg where you are able to see, we see the top only, but there is more into, and especially that a lot of persons think that's all, and based on this we should be able to proceed. No, actually we are dealing with a lot of other kind of stuff related, and actually all related to internet or connected to internet kind of device. So there are here some of them where you will see is all a part of cybersecurity, and you should be able to specialize on some of those topics or maybe one or topic. So as in 25 years ago, IT was not only the IT where you should be able to develop your website, but you should be able to be a system engineer, all those kind of roles. You will see here also that there are a lot of roles available, and a lot of fields also where you should be able to proceed and learn more about cybersecurity. Created on domains. So starting from the offensive part, you will see a lot of known terms in each block We will not discuss all of them, but there are some overviews where you are able to see threat intel part, defensive part is another domain, physical security, security operations part. On education, there is on especially cybersecurity education part is also a field. Securing the applications part on management, there is a lot of stuff. A lot of mix with cloud security. You will see also where they are able to join. But also, as we know that mostly it look like this a field where only men are working. Yeah, I think 70% of the persons are men in this field, but there are also a lot of opportunities for women also to join into this field. As I'm saying that mostly a hacker is not always a man. Now these days also women are hackers. So to understand how they think and how they should be able to do stuff makes sense also in the cybersecurity professionals field to have more women onboarded into this field. And could be technical, but it could be also on the non-technical field. They should be able to proceed on this. So already mentioned by Mr. Soenil Davis a bit, but we had a gap in 2019 with the cybersecurity employees, and we see in 2020 has been decreased, and 2021 has been increased again. But the most and the largest gap you will see in the APEC region. So of course, North America and Europe are working on that to minimize it, but the APEC region need to do also a lot of stuff. So into this field, how to get those qualification and how should you able to join this field is some of the part. You can do your graduations and start joining some of those trainings. You can have some of the certifications. In cybersecurity field, you will see that there are a lot of certifications from a lot of vendors available. Some are required with some experience. You are able to get the certifications. And some are also without any experience. You should be able to get it. Internships and to get the experience part on that topic about experience, I will discuss later on more. And of course, if you are not from those engineering, IT fields, you should be also able to join if you are from other fields, as from the management part of. So the question also, why do I need the certification and do I get more salary if I get my certification? So these are an overview of 2020, where you see an average salary for persons with 3 years experience into the cybersecurity as a cybersecurity professional. But if you have your certification, you will see an increasement. In some region, you will see a lot of increasement, and in some you see very less. But even it makes sense. So if your goal should be to get more salary, maybe it's also advisable to get some of the certification. Here you will find a list of top 20 cybersecurity related jobs across the world. So I will not go through one by one, but you will see mostly the first 10 kind of roles you will see was also 1 or 2 years ago in the top 10 list. So those kind of roles you will see very often. So jumping into this field makes sense maybe to consider one of those roles. But of course, if you are not interested in those roles, there are more roles available. So by going to on the roles, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, create a list of non-technical roles where you should be able to focus on it. As already mentioned, the data officers and the privacy officers, privacy professionals, of course, the cybersecurity project managers, those roles we are seeing, especially in Europe, has been increased after the GDPR in 2018. But other kind of roles still open or available. They are also looking for, but there are more. I've created a bit of them to see and let you know, are you or do you see some interesting roles into the cybersecurity field. So for those non-technical roles, it's some of the advice will be, or getting some skill requirements should be, how's your communication skills, project management skills. If it needed, don't to be afraid to go into the deep technical part or bit technical part. Having IT experience help you in this field. And of course, having some leadership and manager availabilities, or want to learn those kind of part. You will see the technical part is a bit larger. It's more than 50 kind of. There are some similar kind of roles. They put given another name. So you will see a list of them. Some, I think 6 of them, I will discuss a bit in depth. Some of the roles what I have been done in the past, so I'm able to tell a little bit more about those roles. Some of the technical requirements should be having knowledge about the network infrastructure, mostly based on IT skills and knowledge. Basic cloud and basic security knowledge. It's nice to have about security, but basic cloud, nowadays you will see everything is moving to the cloud, so that is also an add-on. Knowing a bit about monitoring and SIEM kind of part. About SIEM I will discuss later on also what it is. Endpoint protection, not only on the Windows, but also Linux, Mac, and Android, and iPhone, of course, those kind of devices. And it helps you also if you have some feeling with troubleshootings, especially from the IT fields, how to investigate and do some troubleshooting. So some soft skills is required for both of them. Don't matter if you are technical or not technical. As I already mentioned, some of those degrees could be help you. Certifications could be important part. The keep learning mentality should be also be added. If you are considering to jump into this field and saying after 1 year I don't want to learn anything, then maybe it's a good advice from my point of view. Don't come into this field because you need to keep learning on it. Even security professionals need to do it. Hackers are also doing the same, and those are also learning using the new devices and techniques, how they should be able to be able to hack the system. So from professional point of view, we should be also in a keep learning mode and try to learn. Be curious and have the passion into this field. Without having that, you don't want or will be proceed too many. It's maybe one of the most important part. Could that be that you are passionate, are able to spend time to learn about cybersecurity. Across the world, we are using everything in English, and English is also a requirement. Almost all of the exams are also in English. In some exams, you will find it in several languages, but mostly with English, you should be able to proceed. So, as I mentioned about SIEM, so briefly, if we have any data, don't matter which kind of data, and it could be, we put it to a SIEM will create a dashboard kind of stuff, and the SOC engineers will able to monitor and check what's going on. And those data could be in our situation, could be the antivirus events, the firewall events, the IPSs if you have those kind of events, all network related events, but also your application logs, router switches log, database log, Active Directory logs, DNS, and you call it. So all kind of logs you want to monitor or see there is something happen, what we want to monitor or want to be alert or creating alert on that should be able to do in the SIEM, and the SOC should be able to monitor on that. Briefly about SOC, so that we have the SOC level 1, 2, 3. Level 1 is actually the beginners, the starters, mostly doing monitoring kind of stuff, supporting the SOC Level 2. So the SOC Level 2 is more the meteor role, and the 3 is the senior one, and mostly you have also a SOC manager. In some organization, you will find a SOC Level 4 is almost replacement as the SOC lead. But mostly we'll see this kind of approach. So now I will discuss about those roles. These are the same kind of function roles what you will see. So if you are SOC Level 1, it could be they call you a system network security engineer or a virus technician or an endpoint protection engineer. So this is some of the same kind of roles. We call it this SOC Level 1 engineer. So as a SOC Level 1 engineer, mostly the roles and the part what you are dealing or need your responsibilities are doing detection, analyzing the alerts, advice on security incident. So not all normal kind of IT or other kind of stuff of incidents, but mostly on the security incident. You will be the single point of contact for any security related issues. You will get the work instruction how to deal in kind of situation, kind of workarounds or follow up instructions. You will raise the tickets on security and assign it to the teams, but also assign it or align it with a SOC level 2 if you are not able to solve it. Monitoring is an important part. They are following up those alerts. They will prioritize those alerts based on the endpoint protection and do malware detection or investigations on that. The same for SOC Level 2. Some similar kind of threat hunter is one of the roles what they are mostly using, or malware analyst kind of names. So the level 2 will mostly dealing with the change processes, all kind of security incidents, follow up, and give also advice on those part. Some will also do some security awareness program or set it up, how they should be able to do. On the technical support part, they are dealing with the SOC level 1 and SOC level 3, part of the incident handling, malware analysis, and if there is a sandboxing, they should be able to give support on the sandboxing. There are, of course, more kind of responsibilities, but mostly you can summarize this kind of jobs of responsibility you will have. So monitoring, helping in monitoring in the team, creating the use cases, what to do in what kind of threats, and working with advanced threat protections, those kind of going a bit further than the SOC level 1. The SOC level 3 is one of the role I have that by the Ministry of Justice and Security in the Netherlands. And this is based on my profile, actually, what I was doing. I was mostly dealing on Prio 1 kind of security incident, so the most critical one, giving on advisories on high kind of issues, advice, creating, supporting on root cause analysis. A forensic part was also in this role included. On the forensic, I will discuss later on. PKI certificate part was also doing, was implementing the SIEM solution or improve it, vulnerability scan, and supporting the pen testing team. So, on training, we deliver also to the IT and also to the SOC engineer, to the level 1, 2 engineers and the managers, some malware training, sandboxing training, and ATP training related stuff. And I was dealing with some projects in the security task force for all kind of issues related to security, at lifecycle management part, where your endpoint or your back end of those security systems need also to be updated. Some improvement in the team and dealing if we have the set or the international kind of issues where we was doing with the CCERT. So as a PKI certificate, or these are some of the roles of the same kind of names which you will find. Encryption specialist, PKI certificate of cryptography. So in this role, mostly certification. Which kind of certificate do you need on which kind of environment? Is it a SSL website or not? Or so those kind of technical. You will see creating the public and private keys was one of my roles also. Dealing with CA, RA, CSR, all those kind of stuff. Code signing kind of certificate, and a part of the key management part. How to create it, how to deploy it, renew it, and revoke it. There's also a whole process required, how you should be able to do it. So also with the same ministry, work also as a pen tester, the same kind of names. About a bug bounty hunter, this, from my point of view, it's not exactly the same, but I think tomorrow there is a session in the Rocheston Reinvent about bug bounty hunters. So maybe good tip to join it if you want or be interested in that one. So the preparation, the whole steps how a pen test will be very brief. Is you will start with the preparation. You will do some information gathering about the part what you need to pen test. Do a vulnerability management. Try to find the vulnerabilities or the weakness of what you are able to get. Do an exploitation. See if you are able to use that vulnerability, create a reporting, discuss the reporting, evaluate it, and in some situation you need to do a retest where you should be able to begin again from step one. So my role when I was doing as pen tester, I was dealing with the planning part, doing intake meeting, discussing about what should be in scope in this pen test and what should be out scope, creating NDAs and waivers, so we are sure that we are able to proceed without any legal issues. Even when we was doing pen tested for our own ministry department, but also for other ministry departments, we need to get the proper NDAs and waivers to be signed. So we start a collection, then information gathering, also a bit about OSINT, and especially for black box pen testing, we also collect the information from the open source. After that, we should be able to discover it and do some exploits, dealing with those tools. If needed on some kind of environment, we need more training. We also advise or get those kind of training. Of course, the main part is doing the exploit, the hacking the systems, and using the exploits on that. And if you was done, you should be able to create the reporting part, and that will mention on a low, medium, high kind of structure where it's readable and understandable for technical guys, but also from a management point of view. Not only guys, but also women. In the same ministry, I was also supporting as a forensic investigator part. These are some of the part what a forensic investigator will do. And as Sweta mentioned, maybe she is doing this already every day, or our team there is doing. So they are searching for those evidence, collecting the evidence on computer, mobile, and email systems, and follow the chain of custody to get the information how you should be able to proceed. Is one of the important part on that. In our situation, we was collecting the information from the prisoners of the Netherlands, where we was able to find maybe some computer, mobile devices, smartwatches, etc., where they collected, and we was doing investigation on that. So, but also on OSINT level, we was working, dealing with a lot of stuff. Also special equipment where we are able to, with hardware tooling, where we are able to analyze the mobile devices. So this kind of forensics we was mostly doing hard disk file, mobile, smart removable media, smartwatches, and also game consoles. Due to some reason, they was able to get also a kind of PlayStation or a PlayStation or Nintendo into some areas where it shouldn't be. So based on that, we was also doing our documentation, and in some situation, indeed, also to present it. So about the motivation for those certifications, one already mentions to get more salary, but there are more motivations if you want to improve your skills and want to be sure. And that was mostly my reason why I was doing a little bit more certifications. But also the second point, stay competitive in the market and want to learn more. So those kind of, but there are a lot of other kind of reasons why you should be able to do. So it shouldn't be the only one point to take and get more money. Then you should be able to join and do the certifications. So we have find some of the job roles. What I'm getting is from Germany, where they are looking for a senior cybersecurity engineer. It's from this year. And you will see that they are mostly looking for experienced persons in the technical fields, hands-on experience, having in this situation knowledge about cryptography, having skills and knowledge about Linux and Windows. Those languages in this situation, English has been also mentioned, uh, um, but also those certifications could be required that you need to have some, at least some hacking certifications, should be able to get it. As a SOC level 3 kind of roles, you will see that those kind of requirements you will see. Mostly they are looking for persons with 5 or 10 years experience into the cybersecurity field. So these are more the seniors one. For the SOC level 1 example, there you will find persons with experience with 6 months or 1 year experience into the cybersecurity field is nice to have, where you should be able to join. Almost the same. This is a list what I found how when we are learning and trying to learn anything, how we are able to remember. So if we read, we are able to understand or remember 10%. If we heard it, so I'm now speaking, and you should be able to get a joining a lecture, or as a teacher will explain you will remember 20%. If you see it, you will remember maybe 30%, almost 30%. But if you do see and hear both of them, it's almost 50%. If you say by yourself and you write it also, you will remember 70%. And if you do and teach, you will remember almost 90%. This is not, I'm not sure about the source. I get the source from there, but I'm not sure it's has been investigated or not. The reason why I'm presenting is that makes sense for me because it's helpful in my situation where I was able to use it. And I remember the number 6 one and especially the number 5 one during my training and study where I was able to do it. So at last I will found this quote: tell me and I will forget, show me and I will remember, involve me and I will understand. And that last one is also on a practical skills and knowledge, especially in trainings where you are able to do the hands-on. It makes sense and it worked also for me. So this is one of the quotes. It's not my quote, but this is one of the quotes. But I totally agree in this situation on this part. So the question about those experience, one of the questions very often getting is, what should I do to get those experience? Of course, you need to have those experience to get a job, but some of the parts you are able to work by yourself on some of those. So on number one, be sure you have your cybersecurity mindset. So try to think how they are thinking and how hackers are try to involve in your organization, why they are doing that. So that curious part is also there. By only reading 5 or 10 minutes on cybersecurity news, you will be per day, you should be able to be informed what's going on. Of course, we are as cybersecurity professionals, we are maybe reading the whole day books about and or following the news on everything what's going on in cybersecurity field. Any kind of hack, we should be able to aware or know what's going on. So that is on the number 2 part. You should be able to do it by yourself. Join a lot of professionals have on LinkedIn or a lot of social medias groups where you should be able to get information, and they are sharing knowledge about cybersecurity. So try to be a part of that. Buy or get some cybersecurity books based on those domains what I mentioned. If there are some interesting domains, of course you can't understand and read all of them, but if there are some interesting one, focus on that and try to get those informations. 5 is by joining this kind of conference webinars, where you learn from a lot of other kind of speakers, getting a lot of other input and the way of working. The keep learning part is also mentioned by the number 6 part. And in some roles and functions, you need to have some certifications. Example, as a forensic investigator, in the Netherlands, I know that you need to have some forensic investigation certifications to be sure that you are able to do those kind of forensics. Or you need to, on some hardware tools, what they are using, you need to follow those training to know how to operate and work with those tools before you are able to do it. So that makes sense to get those kind of information. So Rocheston has created this nice roadmap, and I'm using this very often because also persons are asking me how and what can I do and how do I need to start. So I had some icons on it on the technical and non-technical part, but to get and starting, there is a mix on non-technical part, but mostly in the technical part on step 3, you will see that on that level you will be more into the technical part where you should be able to, and at step 7 you should be able to more into the management part where you should be able to work as a compliance officers or managers kind of role. So this help a lot for persons who want to start and know what are my skills, where do I need to start. I know that very less training companies provide this kind of roadmap, how to start. Yeah, just jump into step 3, but what are the requirements, or can I jump into those step 3 or not? So those kind of practical questions I'm facing a lot from a lot of students or persons who want to join. So that's the reason I like this approach, where you are able to see the roadmap. So it brings me almost to my end of my presentation. Some takeaway, sorry. So those degree certifications could be important. The keep learning mentality should be in with you. How do you should be able to get those experience or working to get those experience? But curiosity and a passion in the cybersecurity field is also one of the part which we should be able to work on that. On the experience part, I can give a small sample. Almost 20 years ago, when I was working for ABN AMRO Bank, I worked together with my colleague, and he had almost more than 25 years experience into that field. We was working as a technical application managers. So they have decided to move the work outside Europe, and so I found another job. In 1 month, I get another job. So I leave the company and join another company. So my colleague who had more experience, after a few months, he also quit. and he came to me and said, Sunil, I'm not able to find a job. I don't. So I was surprised that having somebody who has more than 5 or 10 years experience on IT field than I had, why he's not able to get a job, and I was able to get a job. So I discussed with him and saw his resume, um, and saw that in that period, a long time ago, we was using Server 2012, Server 2016. He had all the certification on 2012, but none of them was about 2016. He had some hands-on experience, but I was not able to prove that he had practical hands-on experience on Windows Server 2016. And mostly the reason for rejection was that he was not able to show that. So based on that, we discussed with him, and as I had worked for more than 1 year together with him, I discussed with my manager where I was working. Uh, this guy is able to do it. Okay, he don't have the experience, but give him a chance. He should be able to pick it up. So based on that, he get a job. He worked for more than 6, 7 years for the same company where I was working. But saying that, it's more that experience is good, but be sure that your experience and your knowledge is also up to date. In this situation, his knowledge was not up to date. The market is going forward. You should be able to go with the flow. Or if you don't want to quit from this field or any branch where you're working, then you should be able to say, okay, I'm good. I will not learn anymore, and I will move forward. So that is the part what I just want to share about the experience part. So it brings me almost to my end. I just want to give a quote. I like the quote, but it's up to you. The future depends on what we are doing in the present. It's from Mahatma Gandhi. Um, I think this makes sense for us. We need to take the decision and we need to do it self. Um, it's not that anyone will do it. So depend on what you are doing. It's one of the and how our future will be. It depends how we are spending time and energy in our future, not only in your personal career but also on your private life. So that brings me to the end. So any questions? Then of course, um, and Shushma or Sumi,
Yes,
any
yes.
questions? Oh,
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Sunil, for your presentation. We've had amazing responses on the chat for your
okay,
presentation with the graphics.
okay.
It's been great with the quotes. A great appreciation for your presentation, and also for sharing your personal experiences, from your work, which has been, I'm sure, budding cybersecurity experts, and even experienced cybersecurity professionals would definitely benefit from your presentation. So thank you very much. And yes, now we do have a few questions from the participants. The first question is, do you suggest professionals in non-technical jobs also upgrade themselves with security basic certifications?
Yeah, maybe some of them. Mostly, I'm seeing that's not a requirement. On the technical part, you will see that they are moving very often to have those technical certification. In the non-technical part, as a sample, a privacy officer, that you should be able to aware or knowing, but it's not a requirement to have the certification. If you are able to mention, I have already done this kind of training, could be enough on privacy example,
Right.
or knowing how GDPR is, and there are some GDPR 1, 2, 3 day trainings. You join those kind of trainings or do it by self study, or knowing what kind of topics has been discussed there, that could be enough. In the cybersecurity, in the technical fields, yeah, there are more demanding kind of certifications, or you should be able to prove that you have those kind of reference where they are check that you have worked with those kind of skills.
Right. So the second question is, how far and how frequently should a company or home worker use the browser history to capture tools as a part of the investigation? How would you recommend it as a first step?
It's a bit difficult to say because due to privacy laws, it's not all the situation. I know in India, most of the companies, or in Asia, companies are able to capture those information, check and review the logs. But from my side, from the Netherlands part of view, I think on European level, companies are not able to do it. So for outside those where they are able to do it, I don't know how it is, but here you are not able to, as an employee, you're not able to check what's this person X doing in the browser chat. Oh, he's going the whole day to Facebook and not work related. Maybe it's not allowed.
Right, right. So I think we'll have our last question now. The last question is, ideally, how many SOC engineers are required for a company of probably an employee strength of 50 to 100?
If you have that, from my point of view, is that a very small environment. Mostly from my practice and experience, I'm seeing companies until 100, 200 persons are not setting up their own SOC environment where they are getting and working with a level 1, 2, or 3. They use persons with mostly kind of SOC level 3, one person who should be able to manage all the security part on those kind of environment. If you are growing 300, 400, you will see mostly a security officer on the non-technical part, and in some situations you see a mix with a technical security person. As an example I can give, I work for the ministry, our SOC department, but we was dealing for more than I think 35,000 employees in the Netherlands. Our SOC team was more than 15, 20 persons, and we had 2 or 3 SOC level 3, a lot of I guess 5 or 6 SOC level 1, and some SOC level 2, and of course a manager. So it depends. Mostly in the large and enterprise organization, you will see those kind of approach, SOC level 1, 2, 3. But in the small companies, and what they are mostly doing is they outsource the whole SOC part to companies where they are able to do the whole SOC part, because one person can't know all those kind of things. So it don't make sense. So by outsourcing that part, I think also outsourcing to enterprise organizations is one of the part what mostly small companies are doing.
Right. I think we have time for one last question from the audience. How do foreign companies expect from freshers or with people with probably 2 to 3 years of experience? Will someone be able to get a job without doing a master's degree?
Yeah, there is a combination in some fields and some branches. We are seeing that you need to have both of them, but some are also saying if you are able to prove you have 2-3 years experience in cybersecurity. And from my point of view, if you have 2 or 3 years experience in cybersecurity, you are not a fresher anymore. That's it from my point of view. You are more than a fresher. You have experience. So those persons should be able to get the job because you are able to prove you have your experience. But there are some branches, some banking are using that, some governments are using, where they are putting the pressure to get those master degrees on IT or engineering. And the second part will be checking if you have the certifications or the experience. So from my point of view, and I think the market is also changing where they are able to see that experience is more important maybe than having those certifications. So that's in the slide. I show 4 of them where you are able to see. In some situation, you need to have 2 of them, and in some situation, only 1 is enough, where you should be able to get a job. So I hope this answered the question also.
Yes, yes, very much. Thank you so much, Mr. Soenil. And it's always a pleasure having you on the Reinvent conference. And it was an awesome presentation. I think most of the participants loved the presentation.
Thank you.
And yes, and we definitely hope to see you in the next conference. And
I
so,
just want to add the
yes,
2 things.
yes,
Tomorrow there's also a workshop
yes,
on the Reinvent. I will be also on one of the part. And
that is
Sunday I'm also speaking together with Mr. Ganesh Kangang from Singapore
right.
about DevSecOps. So persons who are interested in that part, please join and have a nice day, everybody. Thank you, Rocheston team and whole Reinvent team.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Soenil.